Hi everyone, my name's Rhiannon from Blue Dog Board Games. Today I'm going to do a solo playthrough of the roll and write game Cartographers. This one here. Now this is just the base game. I know you can get the Heroes expansion or it's more like a collector's edition where they have this as well as some like extra maps and extra cards and additional bits and bobs. But this is just the base game and that's what I'm going to be running through today. So we're all set up ready to go, so let's just get going. You will see that we have scoring criteria up here. I've already shuffled and drawn the cards for them. So when we're scoring for A, that is, we earn 3 reputation stars for each cluster of farm spaces not adjacent to a water space or the edge of the map. And we earn 3 reputation stars for each cluster of water spaces not adjacent to a farm space or the edge of the map. They're very wordy, and I don't like that they call them reputation stars. It's just points at the end of the game. But anyway, so we've got that one. B is earn 8 reputation stars for each cluster of 6 or more village spaces. C is earn 1 reputation star for each row and column with at least 1 forest space. The same forest space may be scored in a row and a column. And finally, our D criteria is earn 3 reputation stars for each complete diagonal line of filled spaces that touches the left and bottom edges of the map. So yeah, you've got 4 different categories. You've got 4 of each type of category. You just shuffle each category together and draw one randomly and then randomly distribute them according to A, B, C and D. It doesn't matter where they go. And we are starting in spring. So this has a time of 8, so we will be drawing cards until we hit a time value of 8 or more. And we also have ambush cards, which are these purple monster cards. I have already drawn one of them and shuffled them into the explore deck. So that's going to come out at some point in the game and mess up our plans. And for spring, we are going to be scoring A and B criteria. So we're going to be scoring these 2 cards here. And I have got some fancy pens that I'm trying out today. So hopefully they will come up okay on the camera. So we're just going to get started and draw the first card. This is the Explorer deck. So, okay, so we actually start off with the ruins. This isn't an Explorer card that you draw on the map. This is just one, this is indicating that you have to draw it on one of the spaces that have the ruins icon on the map. So the next card that you draw will have to be drawn on one of those spaces if possible. Okay, so we've got a fishing village. So we have to draw this shape that's down the bottom, and we can choose whether we want to draw it in the terrain type of like a village or water. But it has to be on one of these ruin spaces. Now I'm a bit mindful, both of those are quite good terrain types because I'm going to be scoring for water this round and I'll be scoring for villages if I have clusters of 6 or more. So I think I might try and actually risk it at this moment in time and go for a village space. And I'm going to be a bit mindful of this one where I score 3 points for each complete diagonal. So I actually think I want to start in the bottom left corner of this map. Which is a bit annoying actually with this long shape, but we're going to just have to go with it. So covering one of these ruin spaces. I hope these pens come out okay. These are chalk markers. I think they look quite bright and hopefully they'll come out okay. Okay, and we just checked what time we've spent so far. So we've only spent 2 times so far. In spring we have a maximum of 8, so we're still okay to continue. So we draw the next card. Treetop Village. The art in this game is absolutely gorgeous. So we've got 2 terrain types again that we can choose from. We've got forests and villages again. And we have to draw it in this shape. This time not on a ruin space. I am going to go for villages again because then I can get, if I can put this shape next to this one, it will just conglomerate into a bigger village. And then at least I can start scoring for the villages here. And these shapes, you can flip and rotate them however which way you want. You don't have to just draw it in the orientation that is shown on the card. Now I think I'm going to try and start to surround this mountain space you'll see the mountains have a little coin symbol on them. So when you surround it orthogonally, it doesn't count diagonally. You can then tick off a coin along the coin income track, and then you gain points per coin that you've ticked off at the end of every season. So I think I'm going to colour that and that. There we go, and we've got a village that's at least 6 in total size. So now we draw another one. Forgotten Forest. So this is a little bit different. You have 2 choices of shape now. The left one, you can tick off a coin on your income track if you choose that shape, or you can draw a larger shape but not tick off a coin, but you only have 1 terrain type to go along with. So we're drawing forests. Now our C criteria, when we score that later on in the game, we can earn 1 reputation star for a forestry space in every row and every column. So I'm going to try and spread them out as much as possible. And I'm just mindful that I want to do some diagonals, but I've got a bit of a gap here now. So I think I might actually try and, what I can do, tell you what, if I colour this in here, a very luminescent forest. This has flipped this one, and I gain a coin because I've now fully surrounded this mountain space, but I've also got an extra coin because I chose the smaller shape. So now I've got 2 income of coins. Okay, so I'm on 5 time. Remember, I've got a target of 8, or a minimum of 8, so I can continue exploring. Great river. Oh wow, that's so pretty. Okay, so we don't have any choice of terrain, so we've got water. Now we are going to be earning 3 points for every cluster that's not adjacent to the edge or adjacent to farms. So I'm going to just try and stick that somewhere towards the middle-ish of the map. Yeah, let's just try and, I think I'm going to go for the smaller shape and try and start surrounding a new mountain. And we get a coin for that shape. Marshlands. Okay, now do I want the forests or the water? I think we're going to go for the water again because that's going to get me an extra 3 points this round. Also, I can use it to start to surround this mountain space a little bit more. I'm careful to not join it to my existing water space because you're only scoring the 3 per sort of segment of water. If you join them both together, that's just going to be 1 water. Each water cluster is a cluster. That's the word I was searching for. Yeah, so if I'm going to just do something a little bit weird. I'm going to put it on its side. Something like that. So now we're on 2, 4, 6, 8. So that is the end of the spring season because we have reached or exceeded 8. So what happens is we score for these 2 criteria. Okay, so we score 3 points per cluster of water or farm spaces that are not adjacent to the edge or each other. So we've got 2 sets of clusters here. So we gain 6 points for that, our A criteria. And then B, earn 8 reputation stars for each cluster of 6 or more village spaces. I've only got 1 cluster of villages. So that again is going to give me 8. Well, that is going to give me 8, not again. I haven't scored 8 yet. And then I get an income according to how many coins I've ticked off, and I've ticked off 3 so far. And then I do not minus anything for monsters because if you remember, we've shuffled an ambush card from the monsters into this deck somewhere. It hasn't come out this round at the moment. I'm sure it will in the future. But you have to try and surround all of those spaces, and otherwise you -1 for each non-surrounded space that you haven't filled with a different terrain. So I have got a total of 917 so far. That's not too bad for the first round. And then you discard this. We are now in summer. Let's get that out of the way. We pop all these back in and we draw another monster to pop into our deck and give them all a shuffle. Okay, so we are now in summer. So again, we've got 8 time and we are scoring for criteria B and C this time. So again, the villages, and we are concentrating now on the columns and rows with forests in them. Well, start again with a new season with the temple ruins. Oh, it doesn't really matter if you draw the second ruins one, you just continue. So the Forgotten Forest, maybe I didn't shuffle these very well. Forgotten Forest needs to be drawn on a ruin space. Again, we can choose the shape that we want. So I think I'm going to try and spread it out from the forests that I've already got, so I can score in the columns and rows. I'm actually going to... No, I'm not. I'm going to pop this here. And gain a coin. Okay, next one. Farmland. Okay, so we can choose between these two shapes. Now, we haven't actually got any scoring criteria for farmland until right at the end of the game now, because we're not going to be scoring A until the very final season. So we can think about like maybe sort of bulking out our like diagonals, because, you know, I've sort of screwed this up a little bit where I've got a nice long segment down here that I'm not going to be able to fill in necessarily that quickly. But I might actually pick this one on the left. I won't score it here, but I'm just conscious that I want to fill that up as soon as I can now, because I'm going to be starting to score the diagonals from next round onwards. But at the same time, this shape would fit in very nicely here. But then if I put that shape there, then I won't be scoring it for this, because both the water will be adjacent to a farm space and the farm space would be adjacent to a water space. So I want to keep them all separated. I think therefore we're just going to bite the bullet. We're going to try and start bulking this out and not worry too much about that right at this second. Otherwise I'm not going to be scoring anything for this. So let's colour this corner in and colour that corner in, and I score a coin for that. This is where I get a nice really long piece. Okay. Hinterland the stream. I'm going to try and wrap that one round somewhere. So it doesn't actually really matter for scoring whether I choose the water or the farmland. Just because I've got more water spaces, I think I'm going to go for farmland. And I'm going to try and keep it away from the edges so I can score. And if I can wrap it around one of these mountain spaces, that would be good. There we go. Hopefully I'll be able to get that mountain space soon. Okay, so we're on 4 out of 8 time. So let's continue. Hamlet. Now, do we risk hoping for another village card to come out so we can get another cluster of 6? Probably. Or, thing is, it's not going to help us bulk out this little area anyway. So I think I am going to try and keep it separate. What I could do is actually, I was going to say cut off or surround this mountain, which will give me a coin if I use this left hand space. It doesn't actually matter if you cover a ruins icon. It just means that if I need to draw on a ruins at a later time in the game and I can't, it may penalise me a little bit because I'll be only drawing like one small square somewhere on the map. Basically, if you can draw the shape that it gives you on the ruin space, you have to. But if you can't, then you just draw one square of any terrain type that you want somewhere on your map. I also don't want to sort of block myself in too much, because I'm going to need to add to this square, or the size of the terrain space. I want to have enough room around me to have the flexibility to sort of do what I need to do. In which case then, I'm going to pop it down here. The small one, and check off another coin. We've got quite a nice coin income now. Great River. Okay, I could now pop this one up here if I wanted to. I'm not really sure I do want to, because I'm still not scoring that quite yet. I have got time to fill in the blanks in my left column. I think I'm going to try and just build up lots and lots of scoring for this one when we get back to it later. And I get another coin for that. So we are on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 8. There we go, there's our 8. Orchard. So forests or farmland. Now I'm going to absolutely pick the forests, because that's going to allow me to score this round. And it will score me next round as well. So where do I want to pop that? Okay, I think I want to try and push it to either the left or right hand side of the map, so I can score it in the columns and the rows that it's not otherwise already counted in. So I think I'm just going to shove it right in the corner. It's out the way. And not being much bother. Okay, so we've now got our 8, and that's what we need. That's our maximum time. So now we score criteria B and C. So unfortunately, I didn't get any more villages to add onto my little mini village. So I'm only got one that's 6 or more spaces in size. So I only do score 8 for that one again. And then C, I score 1 point for every row and column that has 1 or more forest spaces in. So I've got this column, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And then again rows, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's not too bad. And coins, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we still haven't drawn any ambushes, so we don't minus anything at the moment. So that's 29 points for this round. Not too bad either. And then we are moving into fall. So we discard the summer card. This one, the seasons are getting shorter and shorter, so we're scoring for criteria C and D. And we've only got 7 time to build up our map now. And we draw one of the ambush cards and shuffle it into the deck. So I've just realised we've got 3 ambush cards in this deck now. So they're almost certainly going to come out. Okay, so Treetop Village. Now we're not scoring for villages anymore, so I'm going to basically ignore that terrain type. So I'm going to choose the trees, the forests, and try and increase the number of columns and rows that it's in. you know what? I'm going to actually do this instead. I'm going to fill this left column in because it's the perfect shape to do so. And I think I would just be a bit of a fool to pass up that opportunity. So it's not going to score me any extra points for the C criteria, but it will in the D criteria. There you go. So now I don't have to worry about that anymore. Although I do want to try and, you know, fill as much in from the bottom outways. Fishing village. There we go. I could have used that one in the left-hand column instead. It's always sod's law. Now, I think I want to choose the blue because we're not scoring with villages anymore. And try and stick it somewhere in the middle of the map where it's not touching farm or water. I'm not sure we can, you know. I think we're always going to be touching farm or water. Oh, there's one spot. I could pop it here. I am going to be covering a ruined space, but that's fine. Yeah, let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Ooh, Rift Lands. So this is actually 0 time, so it doesn't really count towards your time. And you're drawing only one square, and you can choose whatever terrain type you want. So, what do I want? I think I will go with forests, potentially. But then I do ideally want to pop it in this one here, because that's going to give me an extra diagonal. Yeah, I think I'll choose forests. It's still going to count for the row, not the column, because we've already got one in the column, but it is going to count towards the diagonal, so I'm going to go with that. Yeah, good choice, I think. Our first assault, Bugbear Assault. So these cards, in the top right hand corner, it shows you where the AI is trying to draw this shape down here, and it actually is able to place it right in the top corner. So you're trying to always push it as far into the top corner, if it says the top corner, whatever corner it indicates as possible, and draw it. Otherwise you look, it's got some arrows here as well. Otherwise you look in that direction. Can you do it in the next corner, in the bottom right, and then bottom left, and then go like round in a circle basically. And then if you can't do it in any of the corners, you sort of move one square in and just sort of evaluate in like a spiral shape, try and pop that shape in somewhere. You are not able to rotate or flip this shape, so you have to draw it exactly as it appears on the card. So unfortunately we can just pop it straight like this. And so for any adjacent squares that are not filled in to these purple ones at the end of a season, we are going to be minusing a point. Now remember, it's not diagonal, it's just like orthogonally adjacent. Now this card is then removed from the game. We don't have to worry about them anymore. And then we continue. A hamlet. So because we're not scoring for the size of villages anymore, I think I'm just going to go for the small shape, and also that's going to fit very nicely into here. Do I want to consider trying to stick it up here though? No, I'm going to be gaining more points by doing more diagonal lines because it's worth 3 per diagonal. So let's pop that one. No. And I get another coin. Very nice. So I'm on 5 now. So let's see what we've got. 2. So this is our last card for this season. And I'm going to go for farm. think. I wonder if I can squeeze this one in somewhere where it's not adjacent to water or the edge. I don't think so. In which case, I'm going to go for Hamlet, because I think I'm going to maybe get it in the way a little bit. I don't want to end up joining any of my blue spaces to it, but whereas I don't have to worry about village spaces, they're not going to be of that much interest. So I think I'm going to, where do I want to pop that on? It's not really going to fit in here very well. I think I might just draw it up here, and it's up the way. Good. So we have met or exceeded our 7 times for 4, so that's the end. And we are going to be scoring C and D. So for C, it's the columns and rows with forests. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's not bad. And then D, earn 3 reputation stars for each complete diagonal line of filled spaces that touches the left and bottom edges of the map. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6 times 3, 18. The mountain spaces are counted as filled spaces. And our coin income is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But we are now minusing because we have not managed to fill all the adjacent spaces next to this bugbear assault. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 that we minus. So that is a total of 38 for this round. That's pretty good. There we go. So we are now on the final season. So we are now on winter. And this is even shorter than the fall. So we've only got 6 times to explore. So we are scoring D, the diagonals, and we're now back to A as well. We're never going to be scoring B and C again in this game. So this one here was the water and farmland spaces that are inland and not adjacent to each other. So final assault card is being shuffled in. Okay, so no pressure to rack up the points now. Marshlands. Okay, so I've already established that I can't really place any more water or farmland spaces where they're not going to sort of join up and then therefore minus any points from me that I might be scoring with this, unless it's a really small shape. So I'm going to go for trees just to stop it being in the way. And I want to try and get more diagonals going. It's not really the right shape for diagonals. I think I'm going to have to just try and squeeze it in somewhere. If I stick it here, at least we're blocking off another space by this mountain. It's not really a suitable space to go by this bugbear assault in the corner either. Okay. Oh no, a null raid. Oh dear. Okay, so they're going to try and draw this shape in the top left corner, but they are not able to. So then we go in an anti-clockwise direction, as it says on this little card. So we can't go there, we can't go there either, and we also can't go there. So now we are back to the top left-hand corner where they wanted to draw originally, and we have to keep shifting, imagining shifting inwards one space just to see where we can firstly draw that shape. So I think they're actually a little bit stuck. I'm not sure we can draw it anywhere on the map. Oh yeah, we can. So the only space that they are able to draw that shape is here. And they do. At least they're blocking off an adjacent space to a mountain. That's kind of them. That's a little bit awkward though. They've really sort of popped themselves in not a very good position. Good for them, but not for us. So that gets removed from the game. Treetop Village. Now I think that this is an ideal one to stick up here, because we're going to be able to start blocking off some spaces that are adjacent to those purple monster spaces. And we'll be able to get this mountain space as well blocked off, so we get another coin. We are going to be covering this ruin space there, but that doesn't really matter too much. We'll be okay. We have still got 2 ruin spaces that are empty here. So we're on 4 time already. We have now reached 6. So this is the final thing we are popping into our map. Unfortunately, I don't think I can gain any more diagonals. I just can't fill this out. So let's concentrate on... Oh, I didn't block off my coin. There we go. There's my extra coin from the last one. Let's concentrate on thinking about... if I put it here... Sorry, now I got the wrong pen. I'm definitely going to go for villages. So if I pop it here, I can get an extra coin from the mountain, and I also block off 1 adjacent space to this monster raid, so that's going to... I would say +1 point to me. It doesn't +1, it just stops me minusing it. So let's stick that here. Perfect, so surrounded a mountain space and blocked 1 adjacent to the monsters. There we go, so that is 6 time. Our limit for winter was 6, so we have now finished the game, and that is where we do our final scoring. So we are scoring D, and so that is the diagonals again, so I don't believe we've filled in any more, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we're still on 6. So 6 times 3, 18. And A, so 3 reputation stars for any farmland or water spaces that are not adjacent to each other or the edge of the map. So we've got 1 lot here, 1 cluster there, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 15. Coin income, we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And adjacent spaces that have not been filled in to monsters. So that's 1 here, 2, 3. So that is 41 from that round. That's really good. So in a solo game, that's not your score. Even if you add all of those up. You do have to add all of those up, but then you have stars on the scoring criteria. If you add all of the values in the stars together, that is basically like a target score for the solo game. So let me just do some maths and I'll let you know what I get. Okay, so after doing some maths, I finally found my score. So my total score after adding up my spring, summer, fall and winter scores was 125. And then what you do is you add up the total star ratings in the bottom right hand corners of all of your scoring cards. So this one's 27, 16, 22 and 24. That is a total of 89. And then you find the difference between the two. So you do your score minus the target score, 125 minus 89 is a total of 36 points. And on the back of the rulebook, you've got a little table as to how well you've done. And 30 or more points is legendary cartographer. So we have got the maximum rating basically. So that's pretty good. So thank you for watching the playthrough today. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll be back in a moment and let you know my thoughts on Cartographers. So just sharing a couple of thoughts on Cartographers. This is a game that I bought quite a while ago now. I think I must have picked it up when it wasn't that old, maybe towards the beginning of the pandemic, maybe like 6 months before. didn't sort of hit me that hard. I enjoyed it very much, but it didn't leave like a lasting impression on me. And it's not one that I've really touched since. I played it a couple of times with my husband, and I've played it with a group of friends as well. I think I may have played it with some family. But I haven't really touched it for maybe like a year and a half. But there was an afternoon quite recently where I was looking for a light-hearted game. I was feeling quite summery, even though it's still cold and wintry in the UK. But I was looking for just like a light-hearted game, just to sort of play for half an hour, 20 minutes. And I was feeling a little bit colourful. I wanted something like tactile to do. I didn't want to get a big board game out. I just wanted like a light-hearted experience. So I pulled this one off the shelf and gave it a go again. And I had an absolute whale of a time. This was joint my most played game of March, as you might have seen in my video blog. I absolutely loved it, getting it back on the table again. And it sort of made me realise what I may have not really enjoyed the first time around. I think I get a little bit put off sometimes when there's an expectation of making something look really pretty in the terms of roll and writes. I mean, you have a look at Cartographers on Board Game Geek, and most of the pictures are of artists that have made their maps look like literal pieces of art that you want to frame and put them on a wall. Now, I think that put me off a little bit because it makes the game, you know, if you try and put the effort in, it makes the game last a lot longer than it should. So if you're playing with other people, like, you know, you don't want to wait 10 minutes while John next to you draws like 20 trees on his map. The solo game, I'm not really an artsy person, so I wasn't really into making it all look really beautiful and pretty. I'm just not that talented in that regard. So I think I just sort of was like, oh, I can't be asked to, I just don't think I could be bothered to sort of get the game out and make it all look lovely. But then I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to colour in the box. Just, I don't want to deal with that aspect of it. I just want to play the game and get the most I can from the score and everything like that. So I coloured in the boxes and I had a much better time. With the base game box, I do think it suffers a little bit in replayability. There's only 4 of each scoring criteria, so you can have quite a few different experiences each time, but at the end of the day, I have played this a number of times now and I am seeing the same scoring criteria come up every time. It would be nice to have more variability, and that is what you get in the bigger, more collector's edition box. I don't think it is collector's edition, it's just the Heroes Cartographers box. So that is maybe a consideration if you did want to play this one a lot, or you think it would be one that is appealing to you. I would maybe get the bigger version. I don't believe it's too extreme in price, so in terms of replayability I think that may be a better option. I do really like the fact that you are scoring, all your scoring criteria is available to you at the beginning of the game, so you know exactly what you're planning to do. But you've got to try and gamble, like, do you want to draw this shape now and score it in this round, or do you try and work towards a really big score in a later scoring round? I really like that, and I love the fact that the information is there with you right at the very start of the game, and so there's no sort of surprises when you get halfway through the game and you may have been drawing lots of bits on your map that you don't want anymore. That's really fun. I really like that. It helps you to just plan a little bit more. The maths aspect of the game may put people off. I mean, I wasn't going to start doing all that maths on camera. My mental maths is not great. There is quite a lot of adding up and subtracting, but maybe just use a calculator. And some of the wording on the cards is a little bit ambiguous as well. I mean, in the rule book, there's nothing too much to worry about, because in the rule book there is like a full double-page spread where it explains all of the scoring criteria. There's a couple where I read it a couple of times and I'm like, what? Like, repeat that again to me? So it's a game that I do feel is better at smaller player counts. It's great solo, just because the writing on the cards is quite small. You can read it out to someone and, it just glosses over their heads, because that's a lot of blurb that you're just talking to me about, and I'm not, like, taking it in. But if you're playing solo or 2-player, you can both just look at the scoring criteria at all times, so that's great. And it makes it a lot easier. Yeah, so overall, I really like Cartographers. It's definitely risen up in my ranks of favourite games very, very quickly. Like I said, it's just best just sort of taking it with a pinch of salt, and if you're not really artistic, don't worry, just use different colours if you want, or just use a normal pencil and just, you know, hatch it or colour it in different ways according to what terrain type you've got. Now, I just like the coloured pens because it's so much easier to see at a glance when you're scoring. So I would definitely recommend this game for solo play. It's very fun, it plays very quickly, it's very aesthetically pleasing. The artwork is absolutely beautiful. I sometimes just sit here and just look at the various cars. I don't know if you can see properly on these ones, but some of these is just absolutely wonderful. It's just absolutely beautiful. And yeah, very, very pretty. And overall, yeah, really, really fun. One of my favourite roll and writes. So thank you very much for watching the video today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, let me know down below and let me know of any other roll and writes that you really enjoy. If you did like my video today, please subscribe to my channel, as I will be releasing more content and it will let you know when new content is available to watch. But otherwise, have a lovely rest of your day and I will see you on the next video. Bye bye!